So how do you feel about your life? Most of you will probably say everything's okay.
Yeah, I see my friends. We hang out and stuff. Life gets stressful sometimes, but I can handle it.
But what happens to those young people that can't handle it?
The stories in this film are real, although we use actors to protect their identity.
They're the words of young people who found that life had become unbearable.
Trapped inside my head, I'm so alone in this dark place. I'm shouting out in pain, but no one's hearing what I say.
My name's Angela, and when I was 13 and at secondary school, I had real personal issues with my identity and self-image. I felt ugly, fat, unloved and unwanted. Even though I knew my parents loved me and cared for me, they really got on my nerves. I was also getting in trouble at school for sometimes coming in with my skirt too short or my hair done in a certain way that they didn't like. I would come home and just go in my room. I didn't want to eat or see any of my friends, and if I did eat, I would make myself sick and I couldn't bear the thought of putting on weight.
I was being bullied because people saw me as being different to them. People didn't like me in my school and sometimes they would attack me. Once, someone pushed me into a brick wall and my face and my head were bleeding. The boy that did it to me did not seem to care that he had hurt me. Even now, I wonder why he did that to me. They bullied me for 4 years. Then when I left school, they went to the same college as me, and the bullying carried on.
We're a one-stop shop, I suppose you could call us. We offer a drop-in service, a sexual health service and young people's specialist counselling. So you can come through, you can knock on the door and come in for any of those services, and then if you come in just with some queries or you want to know about something specific and you decide you want to come back for counselling as well, you can do that. We're easy access, we're open 6 days a week after school on Saturday mornings, and it's usually me or my colleague who answers the door, so we try and be very friendly and welcoming.
Hi, I'm Francesca and I'm 17. I first came to Off the Record because I was having problems with my temper. What was happening was that for about a year my temper got more and more out of control. I didn't really know why, but I started to have outbursts that I couldn't even remember afterwards. Usually it was my family, close friends and my boyfriend that I lashed out at, but I was still really gutted when my boyfriend dumped me because of it. That's mainly what made me first decide to talk to someone about my temper and how to deal with my anger problems. What I discovered through talking, which I hadn't realised before, was that I was basically really angry about my dad, who left us when I was 3 and married someone else. I hardly saw him when I was growing up and I felt like he didn't care about me. His new family were more important. The more I talked about him, the more stuff there was that came out and my anger began to make sense. My counsellor was really helpful. He didn't even judge me at all or tell me I shouldn't feel angry. It felt like he really understood and cared about how I felt, and that helped me to keep coming back, even when I felt bad about myself.
So what happens if you're struggling with the way you feel about your life and you felt sad, depressed or anxious for a while? Is there someone you can talk to in confidence? A professional that knows about your type of problem? Someone that won't judge you and will treat you with respect?
What we can offer is a friendly, kind of impartial environment, a safe space where you can talk about the problems that you want to and talk about the issues that might be on your mind and the worries. But also we're going to use that time to talk about all of your strengths and all the good things that are happening in your life as well. And sometimes young people come to us feeling quite timid, a bit anxious and a bit scared about sharing everything that they want to. But over time, and when they do feel more comfortable, the more that they share, we tend to find that they have a much greater experience of the work that we've done together, and that they can build on what we've done to hopefully improve their life and their goals in the future.
My name is Dwayne, and when I was 14 my parents split up and separated. I often think that it must have been my fault because I was always getting into trouble at home for fighting with my older brother. He was a right nightmare. He always smoked cannabis and you never knew what type of mood he was going to be in. It made me feel isolated and alone. Even my mates I'd had since primary school seemed to be different from me. Sometimes I didn't even know who I was anymore. Basically I had no one I could explain this stuff to. When my dad was there, he ignored me. I could never talk to him about anything. He was too wrapped up in his own problems and relationship issues with my mum. Most of the time I just ended up going into my room and listening to music really loudly. I just wanted to cut myself off and even thought about harming myself just to get noticed. I was like a giant pressure cooker with no release valve.
Why do you think you could do anything about it? No one else has.
You know, counselling is just a chance for you to go and talk to someone that's outside of family and friends, who is, you know, safe and confidential, that you can talk about whatever your problems are, and they will try and help you either find a solution or, you know, do something that will help you feel better.
I became very needy and engaged in attention-seeking behaviour.
I was like a giant pressure cooker with no release valve.
But I didn't think there was anything wrong with me.
I didn't think I needed counselling.
So we've all heard the word depression, often in a jokey kind of way, like when something goes wrong, or maybe you don't feel like seeing anyone that day.
But did you know that clinical depression is a real illness that can affect the chemicals in your brain? It can affect the way that you think and the way that you act towards other people.
Many young people suffer from a range of mental health issues, including depression, OCD, anxiety, and eating disorders.
Some young people may develop drug and alcohol addictions or self-harm to help cope with the way they feel about themselves.
What are you all on about, this self-harming stuff? Everyone I know does it.
Self-harm could be a symptom of depression or anxiety. It can take the form of a mild symptom, so some scratches to the inside of the arm, or it can be very serious and take the form of repeated overdoses or suicidal thoughts.
I would come home and just go in my room. I didn't want to eat or see any of my friends. I found out later that one of my mum's sisters had suffered from something called anorexia, but I had no idea what it meant at the time. My mum dragged me to all these clinics and made me speak to all these doctors and specialists. After a few weeks, someone in my school introduced me to a lady who said she was an art therapist and suggested I meet her once a week for 12 weeks. Just to see what might happen. I went to the first session at school and met the lady, who seemed kind and genuine. She didn't ask me any questions or make me feel awkward. As time went on, I found we were spending more and more time talking about things. Mostly it was about the images I was creating and what they meant to me, and how they expressed what I was feeling about myself. Since the session ended, my mum took me to see some other specialist services that dealt with eating disorders. I'm still working on feeling better, but I think I'm on the road to recovery.
Even now, I wonder why he did that to me. At one point, I felt like I didn't even want to be alive. One time I tried taking a lot of pills just to end it. I was scared and lonely. I felt like I was in the devil's playground and he was just ripping me apart. It made me really unhappy. Even now, a couple of years since it all happened, it still makes me angry. I should have done more to help myself, not just be a victim. I just hope in the future that the memories won't bother me so much.
So what type of problems can you help young people with?
Any kind of issues, to be honest. They quite often it's bullying or eating problems, or a lot of sort of low self-esteem, anxiety, panic attacks. Sometimes they just want information. We have a lot of leaflets about, again, bullying and other problems.
I only went for 12 sessions of counselling, but a lot changed for me because of it. I decided I wanted to talk about it with my dad, telling him what I was really feeling. We had a chance to talk and hear each other's side of things, and we both came out wanting to start over again too, which felt great, a bit scary. Things are still getting better between us now. I'm much less angry, more in control, and no longer lose it like I did before.
Will my parents have to know I'm seeing a counsellor? I'd be embarrassed if they found out.
What we try and do all the time is offer a confidential service. So if you did want support, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to meet with you to start with and discuss our steps forwards. I think it's really important in a lot of cases that parents and other networks are aware of what's going on as well, so that we can put in a support package that's going to be best for you. But I think if you do want some confidential advice, I don't think your parents always have to know. It would normally only be in a situation where you're at risk to yourself or you're at risk of harming someone else.
Eventually, my mum took me to the doctors because she was concerned about my isolated behaviour. The GP arranged some counselling with a primary health worker who just let me talk and didn't judge or shout at me. It slowly helped me and gave me ways of dealing with things which I still use today. Without it, I think I would have gone crazy. Who knows where I would have ended up.
What causes mental health conditions in young people?
Problems at home.
Bullying.
Feeling like you don't fit in.
Relationship breakdowns.
And more.
Sometimes there may not even seem to be a reason why you feel the way you do.
Young people with ADHD,
autism,
or a learning disability face extra challenges in life
that can result in low self-esteem,
anxiety,
and depression.
We've become a lot more aware of autism or Asperger's over recent years. They will struggle with other mental health problems as well, and often things like anxiety or obsessions can come into that quite a lot. We've found that with ADHD and with autism and Asperger's, it's really important that there's someone that child feels that they can connect to.
There are a range of easily accessible services in Richmond upon Thames where young people can get information, help and advice about emotional well-being and mental health problems.
These include the Single Point of Access or SPA, CAMHS Tier 3 and Tier 4, off the record and targeted youth support.
If you need to contact any of these, just talk to someone at your school, your youth worker or your GP.
Trapped inside my head, I'm so alone in this dark place. I'm shouting out in pain, but no one's hearing what I say. I can't escape the way I feel. Is this my life? Is this the deal? Where do I go from here? Can anybody help me? Can someone understand? I need a lifeline to someone, please, please hold out there.